What's up, guys? We got our top 8 match here for the WIXOSS Grand Prix held in Las Vegas. I am Hellfire, and I am joined by Quade, who was one of our finalists for the GP, and just so happens to actually be in this video too. How are you doing today, Quade?
Doing good. Yeah, I am the unfortunate soul who has to be subjected to this absolute beatdown, but we'll get to that as we go. I mean, at this point, I was just happy to be there. Like the fact that I was gonna almost certainly gonna lose this match because I had faced him in the Swiss in round six, and it was the only game that was not close. And our game there, I think, was over in like 10 minutes. And yeah, he just beat me to death. And I was pretty sure because I snuck in, at 5-2, and I was pretty sure I was going to have to face him again. So I was like, it's fine. I'm in top 8. That's all I care about. And then if I can get something out of this, maybe we'll go with that. But yeah, I was just happy to be here, to be honest, at this point.
Yeah, I think that sentiment was shared by a lot of competitors that day.
So Waku is a very skilled pilot. So I learned a lot from my previous game with him, and then as we'll see here, I'll try to point him out when I can. But there's a lot of things that he does that are very different from how typical English players will play.
So I spectated this match during top 8s, but so there were some things I didn't pick up. He already immediately goes into Garden of Singularity here. Cause
that actually threw me for a loop because in our first game he actually did not play it, so I didn't know what his other piece was. And I was like, oh, that's what it is. And yeah, he because I knew he had a Xeno cluster, and I saw the garden. I was like, oh, he just doesn't have a Dream Team piece. So already right off the bat, I'm like, oh, okay, this is weird. But he uses Deus to leverage because you never really need both of those pieces. So
yeah, and even then, like, he probably, since he already knows the matchup, he knows he can burn his second piece. He knows he can burn his second piece to Deuce's OPG, which basically is just saying, hey, put 3 cards in your hand so you can pay for Garden of Singularity if you absolutely need to. So Haket, rearranging the top 3 of your deck. And I see I see the Alos enter charge. And I'm going to say this early, because I know it's going to come up later. But I still hate you for showing that.
For what, showing Alos?
Yes.
I mean, he knows I have it. Like,
yeah, well, no, I meant in my own personal, sake, because I never thought of that interaction with Carnival.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
So, we already see Helium, and, I don't know that element. SE, 2 damage straight, guards the 3rd.
Yeah, pretty straightforward at this point. This is where we'll start to see him really sort of take control of the match here.
Yeah.
Because he was using Heliums, which there weren't a lot of Atoms players using Heliums, and it's a card I wasn't super familiar with, and it really shuts down aggro. Like, it's basically a silver bullet for a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to do.
Yep. Like getting rid of the field, same with Wing Slash, and then we see a Helium and a BP in the last slot. Yeah, that Helium is, I have to double check. But I'm pretty sure there were only 3 or 4 decks that were using Helium here.
Yeah, from what I remember, it was the 2 Japanese players, and there was 1 Japanese or non-Japanese player who was running it.
Yeah, there were 4 Helium players.
Okay.
Across the entire day. And 2 of them made the tops, which honestly, like, considering how much we talk about, like, Aggro Tama or Dash Harana, having these in here is just a very good, this lane is protected no matter what kind of thing. Because even against your deck, right? Black tends to have a lot of neg power, and looking at your deck list, like you have Erebus's, Anabraj, which really isn't a lot in terms of neg power, but your Nanashi just kind of can't target it either.
Yeah, I basically have to target it. I don't remember if it's this match or the next match or the first match. I think it's this match. The best way for me to get rid of it is during the once per game, because I'd be turned into a Servant Zero, so it just loses the abilities.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, you're 100% right. Just because the fact that you lose the Elrig attack, like aggro decks kind of operate on this very specific sort of clock where they're usually winning or trying to win by turn 4, maybe turn 5 at the latest. So if you can slow that down and just, force them to be 1 damage short, like that's usually enough for the control player to turn the corner and basically survive an extra turn and wipe you out on the following turn.
Right. They got Nanashi's, Virus is out, Selection also out. Which is honestly, like, I will always say is the correct play if you're playing Selection into, or if you're playing any of the Nanashi ones into Selection. If you go first, depending on which one, you can pop the first one, then the second one, but regardless, you just always go to the second one to turn your level 2, just because the extra limit always helps.
Yes and no to that. There are situations where, like, certainly the limit is helpful because you can actually field a full board of 2s at that point, which is a thing that's really nice.
Yeah.
You do have to keep in mind that Selection does cost Enter to grow into. And there actually was a game earlier in the GP where my opponent, due to partially some really favorable life bursts and his just general inability to like do anything for various reasons that I won't get into, I actually did not have the Enter to grow into Carnival on turn 3. And I don't remember if I Nanashi there or not, but there are situations where the extra Enter, paying it early, actually can hurt you. If I had done that in this game, like there's no way I would have come back. So I had enough Enter at this point. Like he's also playing an aggro deck, clearing lanes and hitting my life cloth, so it's less of a big deal. But I can definitely see arguments where you're not immediately growing into 2 on turn 2.
Right. I got really confused as to why you just intercharged at the end of your turn, and then I remembered you had a Hyacinth.
Yeah.
Or a Hyacinth. I was like, wait, what the hell is this? Oh, wait, Hyacinth. Yeah, I thought that card was a vanilla.
No. A lot of times she is. She's an interesting card. It ended up not panning out super well throughout the GP. It's funny because that's a card that as soon as I played it, because I played it, I don't remember if it was this game or the first game we played. He actually had to read it, and as soon as he did that, I was like, "Oh crap, this card sucks."
Yeah,
maybe I should consider removing it.
I mean, it's cute when you're level 3, I guess.
It has its applications
free,
for sure.
Yeah.
In this particular deck, it feels less important because I can generate a lot of Enter through both Carnival and Nanashi.
Yeah.
If I didn't have both of those outlets, I'd feel like more comfortable with it. Especially if you're running like a blue center without green, and it's a nice way to turn cards in your hand into other resources.
Yep, we see the immediate clearance on it from just the full clear just by attaching the 0 soul. Helium's back out.
Yeah, that's another reason. Hyacinth is she's pretty small, so the free soul, even though the soul doesn't have an ability, Deus herself has the ability to give it -2 and just vanish it. And then, of course, with H2O, doing H2O things, so. A whole lot of nothing.
Oh, yeah. I think you refill your hand here, don't you?
Yeah. I don't remember what my hand... It might be empty at this point, but yeah, Tristan was a card that every time... It seems like it comes up all the time, and it's become a very important card in the deck just because it allows, as you've seen, I drew a full hand, and then the Hyacinth is draw 2, enter charge 1. So now I literally have a completely full hand out of nowhere. Yeah,
and then your draw for turns. You're basically, like, set in terms of hand, but this 1 to 4 life cloth deficit's kind of difficult right now, especially seeing that lovely silver bullet back on the field. Max only can really open 2 lanes here.
Well, I can, and I believe this is because this is kind of why I remember. I think I once per game here, eventually. Yeah, because I play Pyrolyk first.
Yeah, this.
And then,
I think this was a turn where I'm just like, oh wait, you can do that with Alos Pyrolyk.
yeah. Because you can see the Erebus right in the front of my hand. So I'm basically trying to figure out what the targets are. And if I remember right, this was the turn where because he's got 2 pretty beefy Signy. He's got the H2O obviously, and then he's got Helium, and I forget what the third Signy is. There's kind of a glare. It's hard for me to see.
It's BP. The pay an atom, ditch an atom to minus 10k something.
Yeah. So I'm basically trying to figure out what. I think I'm planning the once per game turn, just to get that out of the way. I may also be planning on using Ultra Superheroes, but yeah, but we'll see that when I do the once per game. Yeah, because here come the servants. Yeah, it may have been the game before where. Because there was a game that he had Helium out, and I once per game, and he pointed at the Helium, targeting it. I was like, "Oh yeah, I really should target the Helium with the once per game, huh?"
Yeah.
So, because it's something that I hadn't considered. He had 2 other really big Signy, and it's easier for me to hit smaller Signy. And then I realized, oh, if I hit the Helium with it, then it's completely useless. So I really do need to blank it out before I vanish it.
Yeah. That's the one thing that'll probably be brought up in the future top 8 matches is the Japanese players were normally you would think that people would be like, oh, they're not going to target this card that's obviously a pain in the ass for them, so I'm not going to say anything. But the Japanese players are like, yeah, you're going to target this. I already know you're going to target this, and if you're not, you're targeting this anyways.
Yeah. He basically played the deck for me, so to speak, where he's like, this is the correct play. And I looked at it, I was like, that is the correct play. Yes, I agree. Yeah. So it's kind of nice because, like, again, this is one of the reasons why just having 3 matches against Waku specifically, like, you learn so much because you're like, even if you're like a little bit unoptimized when he does that kind of stuff, you're like, oh man, like now you're basically learning as you're playing too, and making sure like, okay, this is the right choice, this is the wrong choice, like what should I be doing here?
Yeah, we're gonna see. This is something that happened a lot in the top 8 matches, is both Japanese players would count their cards, count their bursts, etc., etc. They would straight up gamble on their life burst. Like, without even, like, questioning it, they would gamble on their life burst.
Yeah, it's, I mean, he still has Madoka Clap on deck, so he wasn't in any real danger, and I don't know if he has a Servant in hand or not. It's the kind of thing where, like, with McClap and with all of the enter and cards he has, all he needs is a Servant, and he can just guarantee that he's not dead the following turn anyway, and he can basically, now he's got all that extra enter to do a bunch of stuff. He's looking at my trash. I'm guessing looking for Servants, but I don't know for certain.
And he just opts to take it. Like, he didn't even need to, honestly, because he has Garden of Singularity. Like, he doesn't need it, but we see the Bernicius into the Oigona, and then that just automatically just already clears a lane. And there's nothing he has to worry about the next turn. He's just going to charge it over to play what he'd rather have. It's a lot of... It's still, in this case, like, luck anyways, because he hasn't gone through enough of his deck to know that Bernicius was there. But it being there is just, like, further just, alright, cool. That's less I have to do on my next turn.
Yeah, and that's another one of the things that, especially this deck in particular, kind of gets away with, is, like, so much of the action in the deck just doesn't really cost anything, which is like the Oigana. All he has to do is discard a card, which he has a bunch of, and it's a free, and then he can just, instead of being subject with the Oigana on the field, he can charge it in the following turn and have a bigger defensive board, which is something that a lot of English players, me included, like, I do this all the time too, where you kind of, like, keep your Signy on the board just to keep them there and keep your cards in hand. But if you're in a situation where you can do exactly that, where you play the Oigona off of the life burst and then charge it immediately, now you're setting up for the following turn where, like, you can have all these defensive options. Like, you can put Heliums out that are a lot harder for me to get around, and then that becomes another way to sort of, all these little small optimizations are kind of what go into why he's so consistently topping all of these events.
Yeah, and I do see that you have the... It's been standing there for a while, but the Can't Stop Pretty does kind of help here, especially...
It does and it doesn't. I mean, it's a nice card to have, but he has so many cards in hand that it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, the way I look at it is just a way for you to actually get all three nodes on Madoka float and discard matchups. Because you have the enter for a full float, minus the discard now, because you're down to one card in hand, but...
Right, but if he has 3 cards in hand, then it doesn't actually do anything, which is part of the problem.
Yeah.
I actually considered running the red piece, because the red piece, I believe... Or maybe it's the black one? No, the red piece vanishes a level 1, so it wasn't that one. The black piece will let you bring something from the trash and put it on the field just to fill a hole.
Yeah.
Because then it goes away, it goes into the trash at the end of turn. So I actually thought about running that one instead, but I was like, I don't know. Like, Can't Stop Pretty feels better, but I don't think any of them are impactful enough. Since the GP, I've switched to Azure Black Gaia, and that card feels so much more powerful. So that's kind of where I'm leaning at right now with the current state of the deck.
Right. I remember talking about going to that anyways. So either grow full discard, so yeah.
Yep, hand is empty. He's got 2 H2Os, I believe.
Yeah, 2 H2Os and the Sentinels, the Bernicius.
Yep, and he's got the Deus Soul on the other one, so Pyrrhic will die when the other one attacks. So yeah, I mean, you can see, like, I just go into clap and he immediately downs him. Like, yeah. He knows. Even before I pay, he's like, this is what you're going to down. Like, yeah, I mean, certainly the one with the soul on it. The other one doesn't matter as much, because, like, the Berenice, whatever I don't down is just going to down when it attacks anyway.
Yeah.
So now I'm attempting the Can't Stop Pretty, and again, he just has the cards to pay for it, so it just doesn't matter. And Mirage, and then it doesn't matter because I don't have a servant in hand.
Yeah, because you can't grab a servant off of the Mirage burst, unfortunately.
Yep, the only bursts that will get you servants are other servants.
Not true. There are a couple bursts that will let you get. There are specific bursts that say salvage a guard in white.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
For the most part, like the bursts that people will most likely run are literally the on a Mirage or like Haniel-esque bursts where you look. If it was a look at 3 and then add 1, then yeah, you could grab a servant off that. But like specifically from trash, I think white's the only one that has like the specific guard things. And one thing I did want to point out too, for like anyone who might be thinking is like, oh, he's just like telling you what to do, but he's still gonna win this anyways. It's like the correct play even then is still downing the H2Os. Because no matter what, he had 3 damage on board and Signy damage. Because Pyrrhic's now 10k because of the Deus constant. And the Deus 2 is a minus 10k to something. So he was still going to clear the lane, still had 3 damage out. You down the H2Os anyways, because now he can't draw. He can't refill his hand if he pays for the Can't Stop Pretty cost.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Which is why he like immediately goes for the H2Os. Like, you down those anyways because he's got the 3 damage regardless if you left one of the H2Os alive. Or if you left one of the H2Os upped. But it was just going to... But if you left the one with the soul up, it was just going to clear the Pyrrhic anyways because it's only 10k.
Yeah, I mean, the soul one is absolutely correct just because I had no cards in hand. So if I down that one, I at least keep a body on the board that I can maybe do something with.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it was just a matter of the other one versus the Berenices.
Mm-hmm.
So we're moving on to game 2. I actually go first in this one because it sort of dawns on... It's funny because I didn't think about it at all throughout the day in terms of whether going first or second was better with this deck. And I even talked with Andrew at the Life Burst. I was like, man, I'm going to have to like decide whether to go first or second, which is something I've literally never done ever playing WIXOSS because it's always random. But now in best of 3, like there actually are choices to be made.
Yeah. For those who aren't aware of how it works, is higher seed gets picked first for game 1. And then future games afterwards, loser gets picked. So...
Yep. We actually didn't do it this way because we were informed incorrectly by a judge,
Sorry.
who shall remain nameless. But Waku ended up going first anyway, and I'm assuming that's probably what he would have chosen. So obviously he won that game. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. But in terms of the being misinformed by a judge I think it was news across all the judges. Just like, oh, we didn't even realize this was in the FAQ for like determining who goes first in the first game, because a lot of us distinctly remember it saying on the site that it's decided at random for game 1.
I remember reading somewhere that it was whoever the higher seed is. I don't remember where I read it, but that's just where I assumed it was.
Yeah, so just probably a little hiccup, but I don't know if that little hiccup might have like cost anything, kind of thing. But
yeah, for us it didn't matter.
Yeah,
this is something that I did want to call out because this is something I've literally never seen an English player do. You may have missed it. Waku chose to not enter charge on his first turn, and he did that the first game we played too. It's something that I literally hadn't considered, but his deck is so enter efficient and it uses cards much more as other resources than other decks do. So I understand like why he does it, but it's basically like he's already sort of like 3 turns ahead in terms of how much enter am I going to generate, how much am I going to need, because he knows like, okay, I need 3 black enter for Deus, I need 5 enter total for Madoka, and I need 2 enter for Machina. So he's like already preemptively doing that math and trying to figure out how much enter do I charge versus how much do I just naturally get between getting vanished and getting crushed. Right. So like that's something that really stuck out to me, that he, in 2 of the 3 games that we played, he did not enter charge on turn 1, and that's something that I like. I've never seen an English player not charge on turn 1 before.
Right. I also think like this might just be me. I think a lot of it might also be the fact like, oh, he has a turn 1 play that he can do with like we see the Oigona up there. So there's his black enter. Like if you get rid of it, he can just save the card in his hand anyways. Because like we see it now, he has his black enter. Like he doesn't have to worry about his level 2 grow because you just gave it to him anyways.
Yeah, and he knows I'm in aggro deck, and he knows that I will have, even if I do nothing, like I will have an open lane and an Elrig attack, and there's a decent chance.
Random drains never feels good.
It does. Like there's a decent chance he gets the black anyway, and there's probably a black card in his hand at the very least. If the worst case scenario happens and there's nothing but blue, he could probably still charge a black. I'm sure that's like there's no way he wasn't going to grow to 2 on his turn 2. But again, I just thought that was something that like I wanted to mention it because it's something that like English players really don't even think about. Like you just charge and go, and some of them even charge to their detriment. Like later on in games. You'll notice here, this is something that I noticed way too late because I did this at the GP, is I actually discarded 2 Hyacinth, but then didn't actually enter charge. Oh. So that's a little bit of a miss on my bad.
Yeah, so it's a...
Oh, I actually did it just right there. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, but my bad.
Yeah, I was like, hold on, whoopsie. It happens, especially this late in the game, like coming from like other TCG experience. You eventually just start forgetting that you've done things because you've just been in the mental grind set of this. This is basically your 9th game today. Like you've just been in the mental grind set most of the day where you're just like, oh, yeah, I forgot that I did this.
Yeah, there were a lot of times where I either forgot to activate Carnival, because that's something that I'm guilty of a lot, is just not even getting the free cycle in, or even worse is I activate Carnival and then forget to actually resolve the effect when she attacks, because there is a timing delay on it, and I've done that before, where you discard, you get it ready to go, and then Carnival attacks, and you just completely whiff on the trigger.
Oh, and a Mirage there's not going to help a lot. I mean, depending on what's in your trash, I think I saw a Lancelot in there, I could be mistaken.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there was one in. There's one in the enter because I played it on turn 2, but there's not really anything in my trash that helps me immediately. I think I go for the Berenices just because I need level 1s. Because like I'm pretty sure I have Pyrrholook and potentially Erebus, like ways to do stuff, but I need to make sure that I can actually fill all 3 lanes at this point.
I saw the flash of the Pyrrholook in your hand there. Yep, see the grow, Lancelot's bye-bye. 5 coin. So he's... Oh god, he changed where he put his pieces, so I didn't even notice he already went to Goss. Or he already opened out Goss.
Yeah, I mean, he does, again, he knows, like, what I'm running, and he knows I don't have any discard effects. Like, so the Xenocluster is a useless piece right now for him, up until he uses it for the Deus once per game. So the Garden is basically, again, a free draw, and then if in an absolute emergency, he can, discard a bunch of stuff for a free guard. So yeah, like Xenocluster is just a dead card against my deck, and he already knows it, so yeah, there's no reason for him to kind of mess around with it.
Yep, that is true.
I think I'm contemplating the once per game here, but I think what I try to do is kind of make my way through. So yeah, I'd go to Mahari. Do I remember to... Oh yeah, he mills me. I don't know if I remember to freeze something or not here. It looks like I just missed the Pyrrholook trigger.
Yeah, you could have gotten the PA up at the right slot if you remembered the Pyrrholook trigger here.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah, because I thought you got rid of the other card off of the Pyrrholook trigger, but yeah. Oops, kind of thing. I mean, how is Pyrrholook worded? Is it mandatory?
I believe so.
Yeah, so that PA technically should not be there right now. Kind of thing.
Oops.
Oh, yeah, well. Like I said, it happens. Sometimes you don't catch the stuff until after it's been recorded, kind of thing. Heat of the moment things.
Yeah, I straight up didn't even recognize that I just missed. Like, the only reason I knew is because I was watching it back. I was like, well, that's a miss trigger.
Yeah.
So I think he's deciding whether or not to clap or smash. Again, he's counting his deck. Because he also knows I'm on Ultra Superhero, so milling out is probably... I don't want to say an inevitability, but it's certainly something he needs to look out for.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go to smash and probably get rid of the Phalaris. I feel like he'd get rid of the Phalaris here. No, he's getting rid of the Pyrrholook. I guess he's not going to care about you milling him out off of the Phalaris.
I think that's the idea, that he's basically like, by the time the mill happens, I'll either be almost dead or like he'll be out of life cloth anyway, potentially, that it just won't matter.
Right.
So yeah, I think that is the right move anyway. I mean, obviously, it's easy to say that with someone like Waku, but I agree that if you have the damage on board, you just prevent the damage. Because even like milling it's a very potent form of damage, but at the end of the day, like if I'm using both Phalaris and Ultra Superheroes to do 1 point of damage, it's not the end of the world versus like a guaranteed free attack.
Yeah, so we see 2 servants there, and then get straight to the Gallium just to force you to discard that last card in your hand. Oh, one of the last 2 cards in your hand. And Bernicius, here we go. Here we go again. Oigona, goodbye, Matahari. Yep. Oh man, literally. Yep. Oh boy, literally. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think he cares if you mill him out, kind of thing, because now it's like I said, he's been counting his bursts a lot throughout the game. So
yeah, and probably his servants too.
Him knowing like what's left in his deck can also tell him what's left in his life cloth.
Yeah. Yep. Because then he'll know like potential for avoiding damage and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And again, and this is one of the reasons why I also run Madoka Clap. Like, Madoka Clap is such a huge safety net that it allows you to do this kind of stuff where you kind of, like, let yourself get open and be like, okay, I'll take the damage and maybe hit a life burst. And then if you don't, you still have basically a full turn off, like with Clap and a guard,
Mhm.
You can basically stop all 3 lanes plus the Elric attack, and then try to win on your following turn.
Right. Now, the only downside is when you're playing against, like, Clap's great until you play against a discard deck, and then you're just sitting there like, well, crap. Like, this
Yeah,
situation
sure. I mean,
here is just like, well, crap.
yeah, there's certainly downsides to it, but in this particular matchup, yeah, it feels really comfortable to be in that position.
Yeah.
So he's got, what is that, 2 H2Os again?
Yeah,
with
2
the Deus?
H2Os. He's basically got 3 holes, so we're going to see another, goodbye H2Os.
Yep.
Oigona's still going to swing face. And you don't have... There's the Servant. Just
right on time.
Yeah, right on time.
I don't remember what I get here. I'm pretty sure it's not a Servant, because I'm like, there's no way... Actually, you know what? It probably has to be a Servant, because I know he still has Clap. Like, I have to survive a turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think I get the Servant here. If I was smart, I would get the Servant.
I do think the Servant is the correct play, but also, I personally probably would have sat... Oh, you grabbed the Erebus!
What am I doing?
I feel like you see a play that you could probably, like, actually maybe win, but at the same time, I feel like you forgot about it. Because he's only got 2 enter right now.
That's true. Maybe I was thinking that.
Yeah, he only has 2. He only has 2 enter right now, and if you Ultra Superheroes, unfortunately, does not clear the H2O, but that puts him to 2 life cloth.
Yeah, well, I still have the once per game, so I can kill the H2Os with the Erebus.
Yeah, because if you once per game to play the Erebus, there goes the H2Os.
Yeah.
That puts him to 4 enter, so he can only clap once. I think he has... He doesn't have his hand close on camera, but, yeah. Once per game, Erebus. I think that's what you saw here. Once per game, Erebus to clear those. But that does give him the enter to at least pay for the clap.
Yeah, so, well, yeah, because I don't think there was any way I was getting around it anyway. I think it's also a matter of if I Ultra Superheroes here as well. Which I do. That does not surprise me. Because, again, I have to get something going.
Yeah, so this...
I think I also was kind of just hoping to draw into a Servant.
Oh, that's a good burst to see there.
Yep. Yeah, and he's looking through the deck, which is something that I have seen people do it and, ask for Servant counts and stuff, but... Yeah, him having his full deck and looking at his enter in his hand, like, he knows exactly what 2 cards are going to be in his life burst, which is something that, the top-level players will all be taking that stuff into account.
Yeah, because now he can literally just sit here and go, it's like, oh, one of my bursts is a random drain. I don't need a full clap here. I've got I've got Garden of Singularity and 4 cards in hand. I don't need a full clap here if one of his bursts is a random drain.
Right, yep.
Like, the fact he can still, like, this knowledge and the fact he can still sit on the clap is just kind of gross.
Yep. And that's just something that comes with experience. Like, I know my deck reasonably well, but if I looked at everything in the trash and enter zone, and, I mean, I could count the burst, but I'd be like, what cards are missing? Like, in the heat of the battle like this, I don't know if I could name all of them, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So see the discard for Carney. Probably, I feel like it's just going to be a draw at this point to get another card in your hand to hopefully not lose both of them to whatever he's got going. He's still going to pay for the clap anyways. Like, even if he has that random drain. Full clap. Yeah, might as well.
I basically expected it, to be honest. And I was like, well, maybe he won't clear my lanes. Maybe I'll draw into a Servant. I think it was... as soon as I paid for the Carnival, I'm pretty sure I looked at my trash and I was like, oh, there's 3 Servants in here, because the 4th one, I think, is in the enter. Like, I don't think there are any Servants left in my deck at this point.
Yeah.
So, like, just knowing that I don't have a Servant in hand and no real way to get one, like, the game's already over at this point, but we kind of just... You're at the top tables, you may as well play it out.
Yeah. See, unfortunate doubts, like, all he needs to do is open a lane. Like, realistically, all he would need to do is open a lane. Force you to use
I still do have the can't stop ready. And the
Yeah.
fact that he's using all these cards, like, he does need some element of, like, he needs to open a lane and still either have enough to pay for the Can't Stop Pretty, or he needs to open 2 lanes. So there was one like situation where it actually may have been relevant, but again, I don't actually have a guard in hand. So if he just goes to attack and attacks with his Elrig, the game's over. But he can't know that necessarily.
I feel like
Well,
he did just look through your trash. He might very well
yeah,
know.
maybe there is a servant still on the deck somewhere. I don't know. I remember there being no servants, but again, this was game 9 after a very long day, so who knows?
Yeah, we're gonna see the pay. What he's gonna target, nobody knows. Oh, Erebus, see ya.
Yeah, and he still has not once per gamed yet, which is another way. Yeah, because that's how I felt too. I was like, okay, I had the Can't Stop Pretty, and then I forgot about the once per game, and now here we are again. So now he can get all the cards back he needs to pay for the Can't Stop Pretty.
Yeah, that's realistically all he needed to do was open a lane to Can't Stop Pretty, and just pay for the cost.
Yep.
And that's game right there. It doesn't even have to care if that last card in your hand is the servant.
Yep. Yeah, and that's, as we'll see, it's exactly what he even has the Ogona anyway. So
yeah.
It super doesn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got Deus. Yep.
Yep.
And I just said this one, I'm like, yeah, I'm super dead.
Yep. Swing in, get the clear. Yep. GG's.
Yep. That game was closer than the other ones. Going first did definitely help. But again, it's just part of it is the matchups as well. The Carnival isn't matched up particularly well, but again, all of these little optimizations that he does throughout the game, and in terms of knowing the game state, knowing what's in the deck, what can be in the cloth, what's in the trash, like it's all the stuff that like a lot of people around here just don't really do that kind of stuff in terms of the very meticulous checking all the boxes. So
right. But for the most part, yeah, there is probably some stuff that still can be learned in like this matchup for you for like against Adams in the future. Don't have Can't Stop Pretty is probably one of them.
Yeah, I've already improved on that for sure.
Yeah,
that definitely helps. But yeah, because Adams is not a deck that I have played very often against, and especially not with this particular deck. So knowing what I know now, I'm probably better positioned at least a little bit.
right.
Again, switching into Azure Black Eye will help a lot because that'll control at least some of his hand and to let me bring stuff back from my trash. And then some of the other upgrades I've made as well, because I also put in Yuzuki to help potentially burn Enter. Like if we're in a situation where he has a bunch of Enter and potentially can clap me, if I can Yuzuki to burn some of that, so now I'm out of clap range, like that's another real big potential swing that I can do there as well.
Right. But, man, there was something I was going to say and I completely forgot it.
It happens. But yeah, I learned a lot. I played 3 games against Waku, and it was definitely, even though he handily beat me all 3 times, I learned so much from those games that it felt like it made me such a much better player. So I'm actually very excited to see what the actual top table matches are like, because that'll be, I think, eye-opening for a lot of English players to see like what the Japanese players do at the highest level, and again, trying to learn all of their little tips and tricks in terms of what they do to help make them so consistent.
Right. But that's going to be it for today, Quade. Thank you for joining me, and sorry you had to relive through this experience one more time.
No, it was nice. I gotta say, especially that last game was closer than I remember it. I remember getting just absolutely slaughtered, and the first game was kind of a slaughter. But it's nice to watch this, because I have done commentaries on some of my older videos during back when online ceremonies were a thing. And I learned so much more from watching my own play in terms of like, oh, I should have done this, or I missed this trigger, or, this is something I hadn't thought of. So it's a great learning experience. And again, especially against somebody who is as skilled as Waku is, being able to see it again, like it's really helping out. So yeah, that's a tip for anyone watching, that I think the best way to improve your gameplay is to record it and watch it back, because you can see all of the little mistakes you make and the things you hadn't thought of. like it's so much easier to watch the game from this perspective as opposed to being sitting in there and playing it. And doing that kind of stuff can really improve your game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once again, I've been Hellfire. Again, thanks for joining, and I will see you all in the next video.
See ya.